Hello, this is Miak Gudju. The spring bucket bag, perfect for spring, is called it by handle or. We've included a shoulder strap so you can carry. Have fun making this perfect. Let's spring bag. Before we begin, please check the accessories. In addition to the accessories we're providing, the only other items you'll need are a lighter and scissors, shown in the lower right corner. Once you have both the lighter and scissors, let's get started. Before we begin making the spring bucket bag, let me first show you how to break the thread on the leather. The first step we'll start that will form the body of the spring bucket bag to the leather that will hold the lock. So, as I begin each task, I'll tell you how long the thread to use. After cutting the thread accordingly, you can work by inserting this needle into both ends of the thread. First, prepare the thread to be 3 times the height of the bag body. Once, twice, 3 times. Of the needle, pull out the thread about 2 centimeters. We'll insert the thread into both ends. Now, pass the thread through the eye of the needle, longer than the length. The center, like this. You'll see that the thread is tightly tied. Repeat the same thing on the other side once more. Into the eye of. Pull out the thread about 2 centimeters longer than the length of the needle, then poke the Now, we'll attach the leather accessory lock to the bag body. If you look at these families now, there's a side with a pattern like this, and a side with a pattern like this. And if you flip the other side, you'll see a rough part like this. Here too, do you see the rough textured part of the lining? These patterned parts will form the lining of the bag. These rough textured parts will form the lining. So, do you see the square-shaped perforations here? And do you see the square perforations on the accessory here? So, Fold these rough areas. So that they touch each other like this, and then again, this square and this perforation here align. So that this rough area and this rough area align like this. The dotting like this. Connect. Align the perforation patterns of the connected dotting, so that they all fit together well. Then, them like this on the square. And then sew. Dot. First, we'll start sewing. We'll start the needle point at the top right. We'll move clockwise. Now, let's pass 2 needles through like this. Next, let's pass this through as well. Now, pull the needle and move it. Now, the needle that passed through the uppermost hole, through the hole where the thread is now passed through. Dot. And as I said, it should pass clockwise in the clockwise direction. So, 1 space down, then clockwise. And then 1 more space clockwise. First, move the thread that started here to here. The needle that started 1 space down. Insert. Dot. Now, these 2 needles are placed back and forth through a single hole, alternating stitches. Dot. Now, as you can see, the needles are passing through the same hole, crossing back and forth like this. This needle is crossing the hole in an S shape, and this stitching method is called a cross stitch. Leather goods. In most is a widely used sewing method. This bag we're making today will also continue to use cross stitch. It's planned, so please remember this method and name. Now, let's continue with cross stitch for the remaining sections. Dot. where we started. We've returned to the punched area on the top right. As you can see, this side will be the front of the bag, as I mentioned. Now, the rough part here will be the inside of the bag, and it's best to finish the thread on the inside. So, leave this thread facing inward as is. Stitch on the back outer side so. And break one more. Clockwise. You can pass the thread through as if it were running. You can move it back one stitch and sew counterclockwise. Tie the knot once. Twice. Tightly. And then with scissors. The knot shorter. Cut. Okay, if you finish like this, one side is complete. Finishing this with a lighter. If the flame gets too close to the leather, it could blacken or even burn. Therefore, when finishing the end of the thread with this lighter, be careful not to close it. Just like we did. Process. Attach it like this and repeat. The leather body and the locking part are now connected. Now, let's move on to the next step. The enclosed string, leather, and you'll need. The thread should be about 1, 2, 3, or 4 times the dot. Then, insert the needles evenly into both ends. Now, the needles are inserted long enough. Then, for the leather strap. The visible pattern side will be the leather handle. This will be the inside, the hidden side. Here, you can see the punched stitches that briefly break and then restart. Break and then restart. The circular string with the point where align. With the point where the stitches break in. Start stitching by aligning the stitches. The very rough part. Remember. Now. At the beginning. To prevent unraveling. Let's tie a tighter knot. First, let's pass the thread through the same part. Dot. The thread that passed through the top should pass through the same punched stitch at the bottom. Next, the thread that passed through the bottom should pass from top to bottom. The ends together so they don't come apart. As you can see, I've finished. Then, do the same. Cross stitch. Dot. The threads are now placed on both ends. Here. From the side. I've cut them slightly. And now, both sides are working well with the round stitch. Wrap it tightly like this until the end, and continue the same cross stitch all the way up to this point. Dot. The last hole left. The outer part like you did at the beginning. Wrap. Dot. Then Let's finish. This part. Front or back here? Since there's no clear. Simply bring the threads together and tidy them up neatly. Dot. Look. At. Once. Twice. Tie a tight knot. And then cut it short. Then, with a lighter, once you've finished, the handle sewing is complete. Now, let's finish the handle strap. You can see the straps sticking out at both ends. Them to about half their original length. Dot. Cut. This on the other side, and dot. The strap is complete. Now, let's return to the main body of the leather bag. Here, instead of the smooth surface, on the patterned part that will become the front of the bag, we're going to work one, two, three, let's break the needles. Now that everything is connected like this, let's say the back of the bag. This is the front of the bag, right? If you look at this part, you can see vertical holes. These holes, the V-shaped holes like this, overlap. And continue with cross stitch. Dot. Now, I broke one needle like this, skipped over, to avoid this mistake. You need to carefully check each stitch. Dot. Now that we've fixed the mistakes and restored the original shape, continue with cross stitch all the way up to here. Dot. You've finished all the way to the end, just like before. Wrap the thread in a circle in both directions with this smooth part. Once. Finish like this, and the body is complete. Now, the next step is to connect the leather that will form the bottom of the bag to the body leather. Now, first, length of the thread, which is the width of the stitching. Measure the 2, 3, 4, 4 pieces of thread to this length. The thread. Prepare. Dot. Now, if you look at the materials, you'll see that there's one piece of leather with metal attached, and one piece that isn't. This attached piece will form the bottom of the bag. Then, when these body leathers are wrapped in a circle, the leather will form the inside of the bag. So, here, the patterned part will form the bottom, and the patterned part will form the inside of the bag. And one more thing. Here, this soft, patterned side of the bag's body leather. The bottom and the outside, and is sandwiched between. You need to sew along this circle. If you look at it this way, in the middle of this leather, on this square leather, do you see the D-ring? Here, the part coming down to the center, we'll start from here. First, for this circular leather, it doesn't matter where you start. First. Now, pass it through here like this. Then pass the thread through this leather first. Then the body of the bag. Pass the connection through the body first. Then, We'll be sewing. Is where. It's correct to pass it through like this. Here. Can you see how the thread went through? The thread. Pull. After doing this, because you've overlapped the 3 layers of leather like this and sewn them together. This process may seem very difficult at first, but once you get the hang of it, it won't seem so hard. However, even if it feels a little difficult at first, please pay close attention to the shapes of the families. Dot. To the leather pattern, attention. The seams are evenly spaced, so that and sew carefully. If Now, the bag, we're nearing the end of connecting the bags. These two families. After we've finished stitching, you look at the side of this needle. The finishing isn't neat. But it is. This neatly finished part should be raised to hide it. So that you look at the part we started with, it's neatly finished here. Similarly, this part up so that it's neatly finished. So, if now, the bottom edges are all neatly finished. Okay, now we're going to finish sewing this side. The length here is this length, and the height of the bag is this length times leaving some extra yarn loose. Let's start by 1, 2, 3. The needles evenly. Insert the needles evenly into both ends. Just like we did with the cross stitch at the beginning. Here, we can do the same. Dot. First, break 2 stitches. And remove them, and then the bottom. just like we did here. The cross stitch here as with. Continue. Prepare. Cylindrical. Bucket bag is starting to take shape. At the very bottom of the bag, you'll see the holes. We'll work this with the same cross stitch. Prepare the thread. Lengths. Circumference of the bag, 1. Two. 3. Equal to the dot. Break the yarn, again. After you've done that, start here at the overlapping part and cross stitch. Dot. Do you see? Cross stitch along the top rows like this. And finally, finish the inside in the same way. Here, from where we started, we've stitched all the way around to the end, returning to the beginning. We finally get to the inside. We've returned to where we started in the middle, and then we've gone back 2 stitches to finish it off tightly. Dot. Now, let's prepare the accessories. If you look at both ends of the bag, you'll see that there are perforations at the bottom. Align the perforations in. Fold them over, then, with the seat facing down, fold them toward the inside of the bag. Similarly, with the pattern side facing outward, the perforations herein. The accessories perforations align well. Then, do the same here. Cross. Stitching so that it can be locked. Dot. Now, as you can see, one side is complete. Please finish it neatly on the inside. Similarly, on the other side. Align the beveled edges well and connect them so they fit together and lock. Now, both locking mechanisms are complete. Now, if you look at the side, you'll see a perforation like this. We made earlier. LL connected to the handle. We'll proceed with the same cross stitch. One thing to keep in mind is that when you sew this inside, you shouldn't sew this part together. Therefore, I recommend temporarily placing it in a gurring while working. Now, as twice the height of our bag. 1, 2 times the height of the bag. Prepare. Similarly, break the yarn. Align it well with this shape and cross-stitch both sides. Dot. Now, as you can see, one side is connected. We've also finished the inside neatly. Take it out again. You can do that. You need to connect the other side in the same way. This string, which serves as the core, may stick out when you sew. Fold it neatly inward. Similarly, insert this side into the U-ring and the D-ring. Being careful not to sew together with the needle. You can finish. Now, both ends are connected, and the handle ends are connected. How it's completed. You can see the entire body of the bag is complete. Now, with the shape set, try out the scarf decoration we included. Dot. First, hang the scarf around the middle of. Please check the accessories. The top. Scarf hanging out. We'll continue wrapping the bottom scarf around to create this. First, wrap the scarf around the top of this scarf, which is supposed to hold it in place. Over here. Then, bring it there. Like so, leave it. And bring it over like this. And then wrap it again. Again like this. Dot. Do you see the knot at the end? Yes, these parts need to be like this to create a pretty shape. So, like this. Keep wrapping. To achieve a similar shape when wrapping, extend this knot a bit longer than the remaining string. This will create a pretty bag. You're done. These knots shape Finally, tie them together and tidy up the knot. Your bags strap is now complete. Then, included shoulder strap, connect it like this. And you can carry it comfortably. Comma. And inside the bag, we've included a pouch. You can store important items inside the pouch to keep the inside of the bag neat and tidy. I think you'll find it useful. Your beautiful spring bucket bag, perfect for summer, is complete. Thank you.